Hello? I don't know if you can hear me, but we've got some really bad static on our phones, so I'm going to have to call you back. Don't you just hate that? Don't you just hate it when you're on a cell phone and you can't hear the other person? It's so frustrating when you're trying to get a hold of somebody, we just can't hear them. Now, sometimes we can't hear them because of all the noise around us drowns out the little speaker on the phone. We can't hear them that way. But sometimes we can't hear them because we got a bad connection or there's static or whatever, and we can't hear them because of that. So, it's very frustrating because a lot of times it's like in an important situation, we're trying to get a hold of somebody and we have a bad connection. We're just, it's like, what's the deal with this technology? We've had it for a long time. Why can't we get a good connection? But then sometimes we're just in an area where there's so much noise and we can't hear the person on the phone and everything like that. Now, this reminds me of how our relationship with God suffers because we can't hear Him. Sometimes we can't hear God because of all the noise around us. And this noise around us is the world pushing its message and its values on us. And the world makes so much noise, and unfortunately that noise sometimes drowns out God's voice in our life. And the world just pushes all these values and the way we're supposed to live and everything like that. And we need to learn how to block that noise out of our life so we can have a closer relationship with God. Now, sometimes we cannot. It is unavoidable, some of the noise that the world makes, because we're in a culture now where some of the things that are being pushed on us just come at us from everywhere, and it's impossible to completely block it out. However, we still do have some control over what noise the world makes and how we allow it in our lives. So we need to do the best we can to get rid of that noise in our life. However, most of the reasons why we cannot hear God is because of static. Just like on the phone where we can't hear people because of the noise around us, but a lot of times we can't hear them because there's static on the phone or there's a bad connection. And it's the same way with our relationship with God. Sometimes we have a bad connection with God. We have static in our relationship with God. And this static, this bad connection, is what we call unconfessed sin. This is sin in our lives that we are not addressing. This is sin in our lives that we're holding on to. These are things that a lot of times in most of our lives it's secret sin that nobody knows about, and it's just something that's in our life, and we're not doing anything about it. And what this sin does is it causes a bad connection to God. Because why? Because sin ultimately is separation from God. Now, us as believers, God has removed the barriers that separates us from Him. But even though we have a relationship with God, the sin in our lives that we're unconfessing causes static, causes a bad connection with our relationship with God. And so what we need to do to fix that is we need to confess that sin. We need to confess that sin to others and to God. And we need to get accountability in order to get that sin out of our lives. And if we can get that out of our lives, obviously in God's strength, then we can have a good connection. We won't have static in our connection anymore. And so I just wanted to go over this with you guys, because if there's ever a time where you feel like you have a bad connection with God, it's possible that there's unconfessed sin in your life, and we just need to repent of our sin, confess it, and get rid of that static in our lives. And sometimes what we need to do is do just what that verse in Psalm 46 says: be still and know that I am God. Sometimes we just need to do that. Hello? Yeah, I can hear you now. Well, I just wanted to let you know that that's it for today, and always remember, my name is James, and I'm your friend.